Okay, so this is the first trip after having the diesel heater installed on the unit, and I'm gonna also kind of go into the tires a little bit and see how they've been holding up. So currently right now I'm at a Elks Lodge in St. George. We're Elks members, so usually we can kind of stay at these fairly efficiently. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into how well that diesel heater is actually held up, what it's done, because I've left Idaho, now I'm in Utah, southern Utah, and how well did the insulation hold up and how well did it heat this unit, driving through basically anywhere between teens to until I got here. Currently right here, right now, it's actually like 47. So it's not super warm here either, but it's actually pretty nice with the sun. So the first thing I'm going to get into is going to be the heater. It heated the floor. So I didn't run any heat in this rig whatsoever all the way down through here. I basically just ran that diesel heater because I wanted to see how well it would do. The water coming from the tap ended up kind of coming out a little bit warm, which isn't a downside unless you're looking for a cold drink of water. But if you let it run a little longer to where it actually starts pulling from the tanks, it did get colder. So the water in the tanks are still a little bit cool. Not cold, but cool. And that seemed to help out quite a bit. And that was pretty awesome. So I'm going to open the bay. And now I filled the tank. I did fill the tank back up, but it pulled it down to about right here after 48 hours. And so yesterday when I stopped, so it was right here. Actually, it was about right here, actually. So it was right here when I started. Let me try to get the shadow off of that. So it was about right here when I started. Technically, it was right to this line right here when I started. And it brought it down to about right in here. And that was after 48 straight hours of straight running. And during the day, I had it set at 50. The temperature set at 50, so it was kind of running like medium to low. And then all night last night, I ran it at like 75 degrees. And I ran it there simply because it was like 14 degrees last night. And it was pretty brisk. And obviously I did run the furnaces in the rig. And that helped kind of maintain, but they did shut off and start up and shut off and start up. So it made it actually kind of a nice night. But every time I got up and went down to the kitchen to do anything, like the floors were warm, which is, I mean, that's just awesome. 14 degrees outside, and it provided this rig with the lion's share of its heat, which I think is pretty sweet. Okay, so the next thing is that Frederick tire and the double coin tires. So what we have going on, you can kind of see, now remember, this is the tire that just absolutely takes a beating. And I think it's doing okay. It's not awesome, but for the price tag, it's literally $140 cheaper than the Goodyear, and it's $30 cheaper than the double coin. And I can see where the center of it is a little bit more worn down, like kind of more in like a V shape than the other ones. Now I did change the tire pressure on these. I was running 103, and I decided that after weighing it, so I weighed each axle independently. After weighing it, the first and second axle are at 108 psi, and the third axle is at 103. This one right here has about 5,600 pounds on the axle, and that one right there has 5,300, and that one back there has 5,100 on it, or 5,000 on it. So they kind of transition in weight based on kind of what's inside this rig and the amount of water that we have in it. So my first impressions with this one right here actually is not bad. It's holding up really well going down the road. Doesn't seem to be getting any hotter than the other two tires or any of the other tires. Doesn't seem to be getting any hotter than the Goodyears that were on it. But I do see a little bit of cupping in the middle, and then I do see some heavier wear on that far edge, although miking this edge right here as far as depth and miking the edge on the other side, they're exactly the same. So it just may be the way that the sun's hitting it right now. But other than that, there's not any real cupping as far as between each one of those little sections right there with the siping in it or anything like that. That tire's actually holding up really well, considering that that is in the worst location. So I do see a little bit of wear on these edges where I've been turning. But again, this is the one that takes the absolute beating, but we still have a nice square edge here, nice square edge on the back, and all of the double coins, they're doing absolutely awesome. So this one's nice and even wear. It's a nice smooth edge, still maintaining good sharp edges along here, doing absolutely great. Back one, same way. And then on the other side, shoes are a little squeaky. So on the other side, all of these tires are doing absolutely awesome as well. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything any better. I mean, these tires are, it tracks super good going down the road, turns super good, like doesn't seem to drag or rub or anything. I mean, you can see, let me get down in here. So you can see that even the turning on this one right here, it's holding up really well. Still have a good sharp edge. If I wipe that off, you can still see I have a nice sharp edge there. So I may end up trading that Frederick one out for the other double coin that we got, but I'm gonna go another trip. Like, I'm only halfway through this one, so that's 500 miles on that tire right now. We are sitting down on jacks right now, but awesome, absolutely awesome. And then my cord, so all they have is electric here, but again, plugged in, did absolutely awesome there. And this reel, man, that's awesome. So one other change that I made on this reel, and I realized that this is just kind of a how are we doing video, but I did drill a hole right here so I can put that screwdriver in there. There we go. And what it did was it allowed this to kind of kick out right here, and it won't go any further. And I did that so that these are kind of out away from the rig, so I'm not scratching the rig up or anything like that. And then I'm able to, you know, pull the cord out, pull the hose out if I wanted to, like that kind of thing. And then again, when I go to put the thing back in, you set it down inside, you set it down inside one of these, and then you just start cranking. And then with your other hand, you can have a rag on your other hand, and you can kind of guide that back and forth and wipe it off at the same time, so you can always keep it clean. But pretty awesome. I'm pretty stoked about those. This is the first time out with that, and it went great. Tires are doing great. The little heater did absolutely fantastic. I couldn't be any happier with the performance so far with the changes that we've made. Cool. Oh, and as far as temperature, so let me circle back to the little diesel heater. It maintained 55 degrees inside this camper driving down the road, and the ambient temperature outside, now this isn't sitting static, this is driving down the road. So driving down the road, it was 27 degrees outside. So I can only imagine that with the wind and the drop in temperature from the wind and driving down the road, probably put it somewhere around 18 degrees or something like that, roughly. And it actually maintained this camper at 55 degrees inside. I had the thing set at 55. It actually maintained the interior temperature at 55 degrees. Not running any propane heat at all. So, nice test. Absolutely awesome. Best change we ever made. Other than the reels and everything, right? That's all awesome too. But that right there, absolutely phenomenal. Like, and the amount of diesel fuel it used, like if you were in like this kind of a climate, like you could actually heat your rig probably with that and simply just be that. Enormously cheaper than propane. It's awesome. Anyway, so good show. It was good talking to you guys. Hopefully that kind of gives you an update on how everything kind of went as far as the first 2 days out. And because last night I spent the night in Nephi, Utah, which is kind of up north, and it was at like 9 o'clock, it was like 17 outside. I think it was supposed to get down to 14 that night. So at 14 degrees outside, Both furnaces kind of ran, but then that ran too. I set that at 75 last night. That way it would really heat the floor and keep the belly nice and warm. I was very worried about it. And not only did it help maintain the rest of it, but the furnaces didn't run as much as I thought they would. So there you go. Okay, awesome. Well, talk to you guys in another video.